from Uruguay, and I'm gonna get somebody right today. So, what I'm gonna talk about is how to get financial freedom in 10 years. If you guys don't know me already, I am currently traveling the world. I'm financially free. I'm only 25 years old. I have a real estate company that does really well. I have an Airbnb company that does really well. I have a card machine processing company that does really well. Basically anything that makes money, I'm interested in it. I've, you know, read thousands of pages on money. Any book that you have about money, I've read it before. And the only reason I'm saying it is just to let you know who I am. This is not some random guy, talking on YouTube. Right now, I'm actually in Uruguay in this hotel room. I'm going to be traveling to Brazil next week, and I'm really just an explorer. And the only way I was able to achieve this dream is because of financial freedom. And so, I make these videos because I know when I started, YouTube was such a big deal for me, you know, and now having achieved a level of freedom and success that many people only dream of, I just love giving back and I love helping other people. And so here's the thing. Here's where we're gonna start it off. What most people don't recognize about financial freedom is that the first thing that you have to work on, because we're going to go through it step by step. You can see the title here. The first thing that you have to work on is always going to be your mindset. It's always going to be your mindset. Now, I know that sounds cliche because everybody talks about it, but let me explain a couple of things when we talk about mindset, right? When we talk about mindset, is that people will, so for one, people grow up hearing difficult things about money. They'll hear things like, the rich are evil, or they'll try to hate the poor, but you can't hate something and then want to get that thing at the same time. So subconsciously, you're hating rich people and you're hating everything about money, but then you also want to get rich. That doesn't make sense. Everybody who I know that believes in the power of attracting from the universe, they understand that what you think becomes a reality. And the universe doesn't understand the difference between can or can't, only frequency. So then if you're always thinking that money is evil, money will not come to you. So then you have to fix that mindset, that poverty mindset, that there's something wrong with being rich, there's something wrong with having money. Instead, what you can do is realize that you can be a good person with a lot of money. So try to get money so that you can do a lot of good in the world, right? That's the point of money, right? So mindset is one of those big things. When you think about mindset, it's so important to have the right mindset, when it comes to money. Another thing when it comes to mindset is the idea of just not trusting anybody, right? It's fine to try to do something by yourself and try to, get rich in 3 months or 1 month or 18 months and see, in the stock market or something. But if you're going to grow something that's sustainable, a business, you're going to have investments, you're going to want to rely on experts, you're going to need to train people, you're going to need to trust people to help secure your wealth. And then you're also going to need to reward them a portion of what they're able to make for you, right? That's a big part of being in business, right? Which is working with other people. If you do everything then yourself, you'll never be able to make money while you're sleeping. And you want to be able to make money while you're sleeping, which is why you need to be able to have other people working with you. My real estate company, we have about 10 people working with us, right? Airbnb, a little bit more than that. And that's the idea. You need people to work with you. In my card machine company, we have people working right now in Bangladesh. We have someone working in India. And we also have someone working out the Philippines and the United States and Jamaica. The only reason why I'm saying this is because it's people that will allow you to achieve financial freedom. And you have to learn to trust and invest in people because these things are so, so important. Another thing when it comes to mindset, many people have this belief that, oh, these people are special. They got a leg up. And you hear someone made a lot of money. I'm sure people think about me and they say, oh well, he got lucky doing this, or he would just got in a good time, or he got some help from his parents. But instead of thinking about all of the ways that he is special, or they're special, or she is special, and why it can't work for me, what a successful person's mindset would do is actually say, hey, I wonder if I could do the same thing. Let me learn from them and know and take a note of everything that they did, and maybe I can repeat it. That's what a rich mindset does. And until you turn away from, oh, they're special, there's no way I can do it, to, I'm going to learn how they did it and then try to apply it to myself, then riches are going to elude you. And I know that because that used to be my mindset. And so that's why I'm trying to warn people. You have to start with your mindset. There are many people who do not switch from it could be me to, why not me? Why can't I be a millionaire? Why can't I travel the world? Why not? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm special. And there's nothing special about the people who are traveling the world either. They're normal people. And they will tell you that they're normal people repeatedly. They're not special. And I'm not special. So then if I'm not special and you're not special, then why can't you live the life of your dreams like I am? No reason. So that's how we talk about mindset. Now, when we get to specifically talking about money, the key things, and this is step 2, is that you need to understand the language of money. Like, for example, recently, someone asked me what the S&P 500 was. And this person and I had been working together for a few months by now. But then I realized in that moment that them not knowing, and this is the US, by the way, so if you're in the US, you should know what the S&P 500 is. It's the index that tracks the 500 most valuable companies in the United States. And so that's a pretty good idea of what the US economy is doing. Typically, it's done 10% every year on average, not every year, but it's done on average 10% a year for the past 40, 50 years, which is a really big deal. And so then that's one of the foundational things. You need to know what an interest rate is. You need to know what appreciation is. You need to know what cash flow is. You need to know what profit is, revenue is, aggregate income. You need to know what these terms are. And so then that brings me to the second step, is that you need to start learning. Learning is the foundation for making money today. Now, understand this. Here's where we're coming from. Sorry, I was getting a call there. I want you to understand this, right? In the Industrial Revolution, people made money from their hands, right? So what happened was you went to the factory, and if you were the person that outputted the most, you made a lot of money, right? Henry Ford invented the production line, so then people were really judged on how much they were outputting per time. However, today we are in an information age. What if you look at the top 400 richest people in the world, 1,000 richest people in the world, billionaires, these people are not making money with their hands. They're making money with their mind. It's about what you know today. For example, you need to be, a poly knowledgeable money type of person. Poly financially literate is what we can call it, right? So you need to know about credit. You need to know about real estate. You need to know how to go to the bank and get a line of credit. And then you need to know also about the stock market. Because let's say one market is down, let's say the real estate market is down, you need to know how to make money in crypto. Or then you need to know how to hop over into this business sector. You need to know how to hop over into this continent and also still make money from these other places, right? Because if you only have one way to make money, which happens to a lot of athletes, is that once they stop earning money that way, what happens? They go broke, all right? And so if you don't have other ways to make money, you're going to run into trouble. And so if you are good at this and you have a lot of knowledge, you can be more secure in your financial freedom. And that's what I want for you. I wouldn't want you to just get rich once. I want you to get rich and richer every single year, right? And that makes a big difference. So again, learning financial terms. What is depreciation, right? What is a cap rate? What is net operating income? You have to know these terms, right? 30-year mortgage. What is a net 30 credit line, right? You have to know these things. The difference between personal credit, you need to know what makes up a credit score. There's so much to learn, but if you don't start, then you'll never become a financial literacy expert. And so, the best in the world, they know these things. And just imagine the type of financial literacy that Jeff Bezos has, that Elon Musk has, that Mark, Cuban has, that Mark Zuckerberg has. Each of these people are operating at so much higher level of playing field. They know how to go to the bank and get $50 million. They know how to go to the bank and get $500 million. And you may think that it's because they're successful why it's easier for them, but it's actually not. It's the opposite way. They knew how to go to the bank. They knew how to make sales. They knew how to build this, and they had a lot of knowledge first. And then they used that knowledge to go and build these things, and then it became a compounding thing. But the knowledge came first. The knowledge came first. And the more that you study rich people, you realize that so many of them, they study all day, so that when the time comes, they have so much knowledge that works for them. So then the second step is to plunge into your financial literacy terms. You need to know the language. You need to know the language of money, because if you don't understand how to talk to money, how to talk about it, then you are going to get left behind and people will see through you, right? You need to be able to be a part of that conversation. And then the third step is that you need to start something. I know this seems cliche. I know this seems that, it should be an obvious thing, but you'd be very surprised how many people get to step 2 and then they take 15 years to start their first business. I know people in their 40s who had this idea to start this, this bar or this restaurant or this salon or this online thing or this construction thing, and they sat on it for the last 15 years, and now in their 40s they're like, oh, let me start. It is very unlikely. Let me say, I've studied this for a long time. I've been in business for a long time. I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur at this point, and made millions of dollars for different people and for myself. And let me say this very clearly. It is very unlikely that your first business will be your last. Very, very unlikely. Almost no person I know, the first business is where they, just rode off into the sunset. Very rare. Even I can think of someone like Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. That was not his first business, right? Of course, that was his first really big business, but it's also not his last business, right? Because then he went on to grow from Facebook to Meta, and Meta now manages Instagram and WhatsApp and Threads and so many other companies. But my point is, the first business is hardly going to be your last business, because you grow and your appetite grows, right? So you have to think about it this way. So then the sooner you start, the sooner you get to fail and learn and then go again. And many people get caught up with just the first thing, which is fixing your mindset, and then they go into this learning tangent, this spiral, this cycle. But then they don't get on to actually starting and failing and starting and failing and starting and failing and starting and failing and starting again. And that's what it takes, right? You have to start. And the sooner you start, the sooner you get to fail, the sooner you get to enjoy the lessons that you learned from failing. And let's qualify failing for a second, because I know that entrepreneurs like to talk about failing, but we have to qualify what it is exactly that we mean when we talk about failing. So here's what I'll say to you. When we talk about failing, what we're talking about is the lessons that you learn from failure. No one is addicted to failing. No, that failure doesn't make money, right? But what does make money is when you see the same pattern happening a second time, you avoid the mistake that you made prior, or the mistake that you saw from somebody else. Right? So it's the lessons that you learn from failure that are so valuable. So you won't make the sales call this way a second time. You won't set up your website this way a second time. You won't pay employees this way the second time. That's what makes failure so valuable. But if you don't get those, then you're going to wait 15 years, and then you're going to learn that lesson in 15 years when you could have learned it and applied it for 15 years. And just imagine the difference that you would have had in wealth had you applied that lesson for 15 years. That's really powerful stuff, right? That's so then you have to start. Now, once we get to the fourth step, we start to get a bit more technical. So now you have to identify an industry that makes sense, right? If you're going to start getting to financial freedom, the last thing that you want to do is to find something that, one, you don't have an advantage in, and two, the market is too small, right? So, location matters. If you are going to sell, technology to, a small, tiny population, right? And that population doesn't make a lot of money, that may not make sense. But if you are selling, solving the problems of rich people, then that's going to make you a lot of money in a particular demographic. So then let's look at two examples. For example, let's say you are selling school supplies to teachers in, Midwest Nebraska, right? It's very unlikely that business is going to make you a multi-millionaire. But let's say you are selling financial products to millionaires in New York City, or life insurance to millionaires in New York City. Very different business. But one business can make you a millionaire. That's a good market. That's people who can pay thousands of dollars. Then you have teachers. Unfortunately, they don't get paid a lot. And they're in Nebraska, which is not a very high earning state. Then it's very unlikely that business will make you a millionaire. So then you have to look at the opportunity of what's in front of you. And if you choose the wrong opportunity, you can spend years trying to make something work when there was nothing there in the first place. There was no demand, the market isn't ready for it, and the product is not a good fit for those people. Right? So you have to make sure that you're doing your due diligence before you even start your business. This is so important because I see a lot of people start things that just should not have been started in the first place. And so you have to think about what you're starting first. There has to be demand. You have to be solving a problem. Let me say, there's a quote or a saying in the business community that you find the problem first, find the people, and then solve the problem for those people. It is much easier to sell to an audience that already exists than to find a product, build it, and then try to find someone to sell it to. Think about the biggest businesses in the world. When Amazon started, it started as a bookstore. People were already buying books, and the world was already turning to the internet. It already existed, and he saw the growth potential of that industry. Right now, as of this writing, you can imagine that AI and marketing, digital marketing, are both growing industries. So then if you're going to start a business, an AI involved digital marketing company would be a very smart business to start. Or a crypto related industry, any one of these in growing markets in Miami, in New York, in Dubai, any one of these locations makes sense, right? You want to start something in an industry that is growing, right? Think about Facebook, right? When Facebook started as a dating app, right? And so when Facebook started as a dating app, people were just getting online, getting used to dating online. And so then when Facebook came in, there was already a growing demand for something like that, right? So then what you don't want to do is go and start a newspaper company, because when was the last time that you picked up a newspaper on the stand versus just looking at your phone and on TikTok or on YouTube and looking for the news there? Most Gen Z people today get their news from TikTok. And that's the difference. So you want to be in a space that's growing. Content creation is growing. Digital marketing is growing. So be in one of these areas where the market is growing. It makes a lot of sense, right? And so then once you select this type of industry, you need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with a plan that makes you different. Now, there's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy means that, so here's the illustration at the start of the book. In a red ocean, there's a lot of blood because there's a lot of competition. In a blue ocean, it's quiet because you are the only one there. There is no competition in a blue ocean. And that's where you are trying to be. You don't want competition. Apple doesn't necessarily compete with Samsung. They're two different products, two different markets. Apple customers are affluent. Samsung customers, technically more tech savvy. Technically, they go for a wider range of cheaper customers, etc. But Apple has a very different customer base from Samsung, very different ad base too, right? So then they're creating these blue oceans by doubling down on specifically what makes them unique, right? So then that's what you are trying to do as well. You are trying to find your blue ocean for what makes you unique. So then if you're going to start a YouTube channel, for example, don't just come on and talk about, your life. You went to breakfast, you had, you talk to this person. No, you want to come on and be a little different, right? For me, for example, I travel and talk about finance. I also used to be a cellist. I am an author, right? I'm a Jamaican, black Jamaican, traveling in South America, hablo español. It's a lot of things like that that make me a blue ocean, because all of those things put together make me and my personal brand unique. So then for you, you want to think about how you can make yourself unique so that you're going in with a strategy. This will take some research, but it is a much better way to start than to dump a lot of money into a business and then try to figure it out while you are trying to also run a business. It's better to figure this out before you start, which is why I'm telling you, it makes a lot of sense to have that plan. The weeks, days, months that you spend coming up with the strategy will return, because then you'll know exactly your type of customer and your type of avatar that you are going for. And if you don't know who you're targeting, your business is going to your business is going to have a very hard time connecting with your audience. So for example, when we started our real estate company, we were doing room shares, right? So we weren't targeting families. We were targeting lone travelers and couples. That's it. Lone travelers and couples. And everything in our advertisements talked about lone traveler, couple, this is perfect for you. And that's what we targeted. And that's who we got. And so we knew our customers well. We knew what they wanted. And so then for you, when you are thinking about being different, right, from everybody else was targeting, these vacation places. Everyone was targeting, come stay for one night, stay for 2 nights. We were targeting people who would stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, because these were individual people that were traveling for projects, for, services, for, transferring homes new to the city, etc. So then that's how we decided to be different. And we spent time really learning our customers so that we could serve them as best as possible. So then for you, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that you are targeting people that are within what your strategy is. Strategy is very important. I see that we're running out of time. We're getting to 25 minutes, so we're going to wrap it up here. But once you get to your strategy, once you have these steps slide down, the last step is to start to automate your process as much as possible. I'm sorry I'm going to rush through this because I wanted this to be a 25-minute video. So, I'm going to have to make that last step short, but I will pick this up in another live, so make sure that you catch that one. But let's finish this last point here, which is that you want to automate everything. Once you get to financial freedom, once you get a business that's generating 1, 2, 10, 20, 50, 100, 150, 500K a month, what you want to do is that you need to automate everything in the business. And here's a quick step by step on how to do that. One, you need to write down everything that you do. Then you need to teach that to somebody else. And here is how you do that. They watch you do it, you do it together, and then you watch them do it. And then if they get the same results as you, then they've learned it. And then periodically, you need to just make sure that they are following those steps and still getting those same results consistently, because that's what training is. And after a while, you have a good system that other people can run without you being there. And that's when you have a financially free system. And if you can do that with one business, you can do it again in another business and again and again. And that makes your business amazing. Last book I would recommend to you is a book called Build to Sell and another book called E-Myth, Entrepreneurial Myth. All right, guys, I gotta go. I will see you again. I'm heading to Brazil soon, so pray for me. Take care.